Hi, this is Jay Piersdorf. I want to talk to you about wrist pain using a conventional mouse. I want to talk to you specifically about the Evoluent mouse, and in this video I want to explain the 3 different sizes that they have that you can purchase. So depending on whether they classify your hand size as small, medium, or large, they recommend a certain model of the mouse for you to use. So let's take a look at that. Now I've been using computer mice for more than 40 years since they first came out back in the Stone Age, and and after all that time, my wrist has started to develop really a sharp stabbing pain whenever I would use a conventional mouse. But by switching to a vertical mouse, which turns your hand in the handshake position like this, then I was able to continue working, and I haven't suffered from that wrist pain since. So there's a number of different mice on the market that do that. The Evoluent is my favorite, and this they haven't paid me to say that, or they haven't provided me anything for this review. So let's take a look at some of these sizes of the Evoluent mouse and see if we can see which might be the right one for you. If you go to their website, you'll see that they have quite a lot of different mice, and they even make one that's Bluetooth enabled for Apple computers. But the primary mice that they make are the D series, and these are the most current. Now you'll see some other ones on their website or in various, if you order from Amazon, sometimes you can see some of these, but only the D series is their current iteration. That's where they've taken what they've learned from the previous versions and made improvements to it, and that's their latest and greatest. They make 2 versions. They make the wired and they make wireless. The wireless is the one I would recommend. There's not that much difference in price, quite honestly. The wired one, sometimes the wire gets in my way, so I prefer the wireless. And I wanted to show you the difference in the sizes, the small, medium, and large. When I first started using the Evoluent mouse, I just ordered the medium. I figured that was probably, normal. But turns out they do make different sizes, and if you read a little further, you can find out which one that they recommend for the size of your hand. So let's take a look at these, and here we've got 3 different sizes, and these are kind of hard to, I want to show you these first off. If you haven't looked at an Evoluent mouse, they're so shiny that it's hard to kind of understand what they look like when you're looking at the images on the internet or on Amazon. You can't really see the shape of them and what they actually look like. But they look like this. They have, your hand goes in this position. They have actually 3 buttons plus the mouse wheel and the mouse button, and they have a small fin here at the bottom which keeps your little finger off the table, and then on the other side we have where your thumb goes. You have a switch on the bottom and a switch on the top. Now you can program these for any number of different functions. The software that comes with the Evoluent mouse can be adjusted to whatever you might prefer. You can also use the right button on the top as a shift to modify the mouse wheel, which you can scroll horizontally in Excel spreadsheets if you so desire. And there's some other tricks that it can do as well. You don't have to use a software. It works just like a regular mouse if you just plug it in. So let's take a look at these different sizes. And I know it's really hard to see from the pictures here, but I think I have this right. Let me just check. This is a medium and this is a small. Now you might notice that the small and the medium look very much the same size, and in fact when I opened these out of the box, I first thought, well, they've sent me 2 identical ones. I couldn't really notice the difference in the size, but you can see that the one on this one is indeed the small, and if you ever have more than one and you want to check to see what size they are, on the bottom there's a magnetic catch. This is the VerticalMouse D small wireless. There's a spot for a AA battery, and also if you're traveling with the mouse, you can put the USB wireless connector, goes right in that slot as well, and then you put this back together and you're ready to travel. And this is the switch that turns it on or off. Now one other thing, when you are looking at the Evoluent mouse and you have this switched on right here, that's good to go when you see the green. You can adjust this button right here, and this button controls the actual sensitivity or dots per inch. So as I push that button, as I'm tapping the dots per inch button, you see the green lights that come on there. So that's giving you a visual indicator of where the mouse is set. So how can you tell which one of these mice you should buy? Should you buy the small, the medium, or the large? And you see they don't really look all that hideously different in size. Now I think when you look at the small and the large together, you can definitely notice there's a difference there. But the medium and the small are pretty close together, and then the large is quite a bit bigger on its own. So you can see right where your fingers contact the mouse, right in here, this is where ideally they want your fingers to rest so that you have some traction in pushing these buttons down. So and that's the primary difference in the size, is where your fingers should come to rest. They do have a printout that you can get from their website, which gives you an indication. Now this is telling you the maximum hand size for the Evoluent VerticalMouse version 4 small on this particular image. And the thing to note here is that from the tip of the index finger to the crease in your wrist down here, it is 7 inches or 178 millimeters with the small mouse. So if you put your hand on this, assuming this printed out actual size, you can see that my finger goes over the top there. So another way to do this is actually to get your ruler out and measure this. From the crease of my wrist to the tip of my middle finger is about 7 3/4 inches. Okay, so reading their directions again, that says that anything above 7.5, you should use the large Evoluent mouse, which is this model here. And again, that's because that normally would bring your fingers to rest right where these indents are in the mouse there. And then everything should work as normal. You should be able to move to all the controls. So what happens if you get the wrong size? It's not going to be a deal breaker. In fact, I was able to use all 3 of these mice very comfortably, even the small one. And in fact, probably if I hadn't known the large one existed, the medium would have been just fine, and probably even the small one. If you're looking for something like a travel mouse, maybe the small one would even do it for you. So here, this is the small one, and on my hand, you can see my fingers reach this top edge. They stick over the edge just slightly. Now, I don't know if you've ever owned any number of mice where your fingers stick over the edge, but almost all travel mice do exactly that. So is this a big deal? Not to me. I don't think that's really a problem. I appreciate them having a sculptured custom mouse tailored just to your hand size. And if you're ordering one for the first time, I think you should order the one that they recommend in their settings. So to check that size again, if you measure from the crease of your wrist to the top of your middle finger, less than 7 inches or 178 millimeters is for a small. 7 to 7.5 inches or 178 to 190 millimeters is medium, and 7.5 plus or 190 millimeters or longer is for the large size. I think the Evoluents are well worth their money. Now they're not cheap. About 114 something on Amazon is a typical cost for the wireless mouse. They do come with a battery. They do come with a box. And if you're looking to take one on a trip, you might want to get a travel case. I always find these are really handy if I'm taking a mouse for my laptop or whatever. So these are designed for the medium-sized mouse. So if I put this in here like this, you can see that it zips up. Now this works for the medium or the small, but they don't make one specifically for the large mouse. But it does go, and it's certainly going to give you a lot more protection than not. This will probably stretch a bit as you use it, but they do recommend it just for the medium and the small mouse. Oh, also while we're talking about this case, this is for the wireless versions. If you have a wired version of the Evoluent mouse, they will not fit in these cases. There's too much wire, and the plug on the end will not allow you to put it in that case. But you're probably going to want the wireless one anyway. One thing I have noticed with the Evoluent mouse is that the USB wireless connector, if it's too distant from the mouse, you might have reliability issues. These do come with an extension cord so that you can take the connector for the mouse and you can move it closer to the computer. So if you're looking for something cheaper than 115 bucks, check my other videos on YouTube here. I've tried a couple out that were around the $25 mark. They did work just fine, and they did relieve the wrist pain that I was feeling. They were a vertical mouse. I didn't think they were quite as slick as far as you had to press a button to wake them up if they went to sleep, but their tracking was just fine, and you certainly could use them. Well, I hope that helps everybody, and let me know what you think down in the comments if you're using the Evoluent, and if you're going to buy one, I sure would appreciate it if you'd click through with one of the affiliate links below the video here. Thanks everybody, and no wrist pain. Have a good day.